You guys are just amazing, so thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Kayla and welcome back to Kay's Hidden Shelf, where we talk about books. Before we get into today's video, I just want to say a huge thank you. The past few weeks have been a bit of a rough time with a family member becoming ill and then passing away. But all of your comments, your well wishes, and just having that time that I did to spend with family during that process was really, really important. So I just want to say thank you for your patience, your kindness, and all of the well wishes. They meant a lot and they helped. So thank you. This community continues to amaze me, and this is just another great example of why I love being a part of this community, and you guys are just amazing, so thank you. Now, today's video was actually one that I had planned to put out prior to Mother's Day, as it was surrounding that. I had put together a list of my favorite mothers in sci-fi and fantasy, and I wanted to share that with all of you. Considering how much time has passed since I recorded it, and that a few elements and what I say because it was meant to be released prior to Mother's Day doesn't really work anymore, I figured I'd just go through and re-record it, and there were a couple of technical issues we won't talk about. So without further ado, and in no particular order, here are my favorite mothers in sci-fi and fantasy that I've read to date. In addition, some of these will be parts of series, and others will be standalones or entire series, so I'll make sure to clarify as we go. The first pick is Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang. This is a standalone and an Asian-inspired fantasy. It follows two perspectives of a young boy and his mother. Part of the reason why I love the mother, Misaki, in this is that it's not straightforward. You don't see a happy mother going through the motions of things. You see a complicated scenario, complicated relationships with her husband and her children. This isn't a straightforward fantasy fairy tale. This is a complex situation of an arranged marriage and harsh expectations that she has from her husband and her husband's family. As a result, this impacts her self-confidence in mothering and her relationship with her children. She truly is a reluctant mother. She loves her children with ferocity and without a doubt, but her relationships with them are more complicated. There are expectations on how she should behave, what she is supposed to teach them. She hides her true self to be the mother she is expected to be, and the complexity it adds to it, how well it is all done, and the events that occur throughout the story just make it even better. Misaki is just one of those mothers who, yes, would be ferocious in protecting her children, but because of her relationship with her husband and the external factors regarding her cultural stances as well, it just adds so much depth to it that I truly appreciated how well it was done. Next, we're going to talk about the Bloodsworn Saga, The Shadow of Gods, and Hunger of Gods by Gwynne. These are Norse-inspired fantasies, and while they are multi-POV, we're going to talk about Orca's character. Orca is a mother of a young boy. She lives at their homestead with her husband and living a quiet, happy life. Orca is the definition of a badass mom. Honestly, that's it. Orca is a badass mother who goes out hunting for her son and who will take down anything in her way. She is a force to be reckoned with, and she does have some subtlety to her, which I truly appreciated as well. So I highly recommend this series if you're looking for some more badass moms out there in fantasy. Next is the Queens of Renthia trilogy by Beth Durst. Specifically, we're going to be talking about books 2 and 3. Now, I am going to try and keep this as spoiler-free as possible and just stick to the bare bones here. Now, the mother in question here is Nay Lin with her 2 young children. All she wants is a simple life in a harsh and dangerous world. Her focus is keeping her children, her husband, safe, keeping them all happy, well-fed, and just trying to survive under harsh circumstances. Naylin's character is just well done. We see a woman who simply wants to lead a happy life with her family, but is pulled into a situation that could put her family at risk, and that just shatters all of those dreams that she had. Seeing her navigate through these situations, trying to maintain not only the protection of her family, but her relationship with them, and seeing her navigate through circumstances that were completely foreign to her, like politics. All of it was really intriguing to read, and ultimately, she became one of my favorite mothers in fantasy, as she was just that compelling. In the end, what truly stood out was her incredible love for her children. Next is a sci-fi, and that is The Vanished Birds by Simon Jimenez. Now, the mother in this is more of an adoptive mother or a mother figure, but nonetheless makes this list. In this, we follow Nia, who is a captain of a spaceship carrying cargo from destination to destination. One day, they happen upon a mute child who has been broken by their past. Really, what makes this character stand out as a mother figure, and a fantastically done one, is that similar to Masaki, Nia is a reluctant mother. However, seeing their relationship develop over the course of this book, her past, how that impacts her relationship with this young boy, it was just all incredible to read. It's also just a great example of parental love not limited by blood. This is a story of found family and the relationships that develop from this, seeing how their bonds grow, the circumstances they're put through, and how that just further builds their relationship in complicated ways was really well done. I feel like this one is best experienced by reading it, so I'm going to leave the ball in your court. If this interests you, I highly recommend it as well. The story is beautiful, the writing is poetic, and just the relationship that is built between Nia and this young boy is really well done. Highly recommend this one. Last but not least, we have another fantasy, and that is the Threadlight trilogy by Zack Argyle. I'm only going to hold up the first book because these suckers are heavy. This is a self-published fantasy and one of my favorite series to date. This one's actually going to have a 2-for-1, as there are two great representations of mothers in this trilogy. The story follows Chris Valerian, who is investigating missing threadweavers, only to have the people responsible come after him and his family. The reason why this stands out for me is we get mothers from two different perspectives, from Chris's own mother and from Chris's wife, Ariel. Aside from the mothers being well done in this, which we'll get into, we also see two different mothers at two different periods of parenthood, from Chris's own mother, Willow, to his wife, Ariel. Willow has a grown child who is having a family of his own, whereas Ariel is a new mother and on the run as a result of Chris's investigations from his work. Let's talk about Ariel first. As a new mother, being forced to run for the safety of your newborn child and your family, that's a lot, and Zack doesn't shy away from the experiences and the internal struggles that Ariel goes through, including the best representation of postpartum depression I have ever read in fantasy, sci-fi, you name it. From Ariel's internal struggles of dealing with being a new mother under the circumstances, from the doubts and just pure exhaustion and the physical repercussions that come alongside with all of that, was just incredibly done. It was relatable, it was believable, and you could see how much care and thought the author put into it. With Willow, her perspectives were also well done. We see a mother who is concerned for her son's well-being, who has done everything to keep her son safe, and now his own family is in danger. Another reason why I appreciate it is because not only are the two mothers distinct from one another, you can pick apart which one has the most experience in parenting and which one is potentially fumbling with it and not quite sure of themselves. You also see how it impacts the relationships with those around them, and it is so well done. It's another example of capturing motherhood in complex situations that you don't have to just off the parent to make an intriguing story and something that readers will love. This trilogy is just a fantastic example that authors don't have to kill off the parents to make an intriguing or captivating, gripping story. You can keep the parents alive and still give that captivating story that you want to tell. For me, this is my favorite representation of motherhood in fantasy. It's relatable, believable, yet set in a fantasy world with a fantastical story, and it makes it all the better, in my opinion. I feel like without those dynamics of motherhood, the impacts that it has on the relationships, the story wouldn't be as good as it is. So, if you do end up giving this a try, I hope you enjoy it. And those are my favorite mothers in sci fi and fantasy. I'd love to hear from you though. Do any of these stand out? Have you read any of them? Or are there other books that I should dig into that you have favorite mother figures from? Leave your comments down below. I always love hearing from you. As always, thank you for watching and take care of yourselves.